Neil, another busy week. Just give us an update on the assessment of the week and how it's gone for you now.
The main thing is that we don't pick up too many injuries. We've had one or two niggles with nothing major, but had a few muscle injuries, I think, which have kept people out of games. So I think from the 2 games this week, we haven't picked up anything else. So that's probably the most important thing.
So it's just monitoring them, is it, and just keeping an eye on them? You're not pushing them too hard during these next few days?
No, I think if we've got a decision to make, if whether a player plays on sort of Saturday, if it's a decision where maybe in a league game you'd probably risk them. I think in a friendly you're not going to do that. So unless players are 100% fit, those are the ones that we'll pick from for Saturday's game.
So who is it at the moment that you're just keeping an eye on?
I think we've got obviously Manny came off last week in the game with his calf, so he's been having treatment and just been doing work in the gym, so he won't play on Saturday. We've had David Worrell came off the other night at Halifax. He's got a bit of an ongoing sort of hip problem which needs to be regularly checked, I think. James Gibbons he's felt a tightness in his hamstring on a couple of occasions, but he's not sort of played on with it, so they're just all things that you don't want to aggravate, but we'll see how James and David Worrell are tomorrow. Obviously Michael Tong wasn't involved last Saturday because he had a problem, but he's trained today. I think that's about it.
More stresses for yourself and a football manager. Is pre-season like that? Can you ever relax at all as a football manager?
I'd prefer to just get the start of the season really and get on with it, I think, rather than. But you got to get players minutes on the pitch. But you're always concerned because the other thing is the grounds are so hard, which you don't normally have to contend with. I mean they're like training on concrete, so that's made it difficult, and you're always wary somebody just picking up an injury, so you're trying to push people, but you're always mindful that you want to have them available for the first game of the season.
So have you had to adapt because of the hot weather?
Yeah, I think so. I think we worked hard in the first couple of weeks. We've probably had to ease off a little bit when we got back from Ireland, because we by the end of the week we had sort of 3 or 4 players, all defenders actually, who weren't available then for the game, so we just have to be a little bit careful with that.
Are you happy with how pre-season's going though, generally, the games that you're having and the frequency of them?
Yeah, I wouldn't lose sleep over, I don't think, over pre-season's game. You obviously want to see some shape, you want to see some positives, but I don't think, if you've been in football a long time, you can't read too much in it, but I think you need to have a clear idea of what your team's going to be and what you want to put out on the pitch, and then you've got to give players a chance then to perform.
And are you considering this summer a different sort of system, a different formation, or are you still looking and tinkering and having a look at what maybe suits the personnel you've got?
Yeah, I think you want to get certain players into the team. That would be, I think any manager wants to get what he feels are his best players into a shape, into a formation. But I think we don't want to be, certainly don't want to be going from back to front to Tom Pope all the time. We do need to mix our play up, but then we don't want to overplay and get caught in possession a lot near our own goal. So we've got to find the right balance. The players certainly, even last season, passed the ball better in training than they did at times on Saturday, and that's something that we have to transmit what they do in training onto the pitch, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
I guess that is the beauty of pre-season, though, that you can keep working on that.
No, pre-season it's the one time where you're probably not. You're still going to have people who will, maybe moan and groan, but in general, you're not. The results are not there. You're not reliant on results, so you can experiment a bit more, and you can try people in various change of position or do what you want really. But once the season starts, you've got to have it in your mind exactly what you want to do. But we still got 3 games, so we can still look at a couple of things.
Interesting scenario for you last night with Nuneaton, several trialists in the team. So did you learn a lot from that? Was the players that caught the eye?
It was a good outing in the fact that if I was a player and I had to play in that game last night, of course I think I was professional enough to get on with it, but the state of the pitch was not conducive to playing a game, and we've got players obviously who've played at a decent level, not going to really relish playing in that game last night, but I thought the attitude was good, and that's always what you're looking for. A couple of things were pleasing, but the main thing is that the players were professional and they worked hard, and like I say, in a game which probably, if you're honest, not many of them wanted to play in. So I was pleased with the attitude of the players last night.
A curious situation with Dior Angus scoring and Enoch Ando as well, formerly of Port Vale. What's the situation with Dior Angus, and is there anything potentially to look at again, if you like, of Enoch Ando?
With Dior Angus, he's a player that we took from non-league. It would be in his development, if he doesn't play and start in the games, I feel that it's going to affect his development. So he's got the opportunity to play on loan for 6 months till January, where we're hoping that he scores lots of goals and then he comes back and getting the team a bit like Dan Turner, but they need to be playing games, so I think that's really important. So I'm pleased that it doesn't matter that they scored last night. You'd want him to be scoring when he's at Nuneaton, and we hope he does well. He's not out of the picture, but if he spends sort of the next 6 months not playing in the team, then I feel that's going to jeopardise his chances, and we've got to give him every chance, and if he does well there, then he can come back and hopefully do well here. I think with Enoch, he's just a player that played previously. He's got I've never spoken to him, or he's not a player that I'll be bringing in, but I'm aware that he was potentially very good and had a serious injury, so I feel for any player that's happened to, but I've got other players to look at.
And I know this week you mentioned about the situation with Ricky Miller. Could you just highlight that for us again, please, as to what the latest is?
We'll get a decision next week on Wednesday as when he can play football. I think the decision is to be made next week on Wednesday.